Hello everyone, it's a good afternoon to everyone watching this video. I'm so glad that God has kept you up to this time. A good afternoon to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you for honoring this holy month and taking part in this time. Hello everyone else watching. This is Benedicto Kwago, and I really like to inform you today we are starting on our. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're watching this video. Uh, More are viewing, and I believe you guys are really going to benefit from this channel. As I promised you last time in my previous video about economics and mathematics, I promise we're going to be sharing tips for passing economics, Uneb economics, and then Cambridge economics. Cambridge economics, I mean IGCS economics and A-level, AS and A-level economics, that is Cambridge curriculum. Uh, Before we start, I would like to really share with you this experience with the first video that I shared with you guys. Many were asking me, when are we starting on the lessons? When are you starting to drop videos about some questions? This is more that is coming. I decided to begin with Economics Cambridge, UNEB, specifically Section A questions. In this video, we're going to be sharing some of the tips that someone needs to pass A-level economics for UNEB. I know most of you, my students, and most of you, the parents who are here, or even my fellow teachers who are here, you've taught this to your students, but we shouldn't get tired of reminding them how to pass. I know most of you are now struggling with covering the syllabus. Some have covered already. That's good work done, but yet is to be done. Like in terms of revision, we need to revise more with these students. The more we revise, the more they get used to the questions, and they need to write more essays so that they can actually be ready for exams. That is October and November, specifically for A level. I think November is the best period for that. All right. There is a certain kind of material I do have. I've not been so well in terms of arranging it, but I'm yet to publish it. It's why I'm getting the tips for you. So I'm going to be picking some tips, not on every questions that is there, but I'll be picking some questions, sample questions, and then show how we can answer those questions. Remember, students do not fail economics because they don't know. Uh, Actually, when you realize on the examiner reports, it shows that most students answer questions wrongly, but with the correct content and correct answers, but they answer the questions wrongly. Sometimes it's the qualifiers, sometimes it's the introduction. If after choosing the questions to select and do, qualifiers, the tenses they use, the explanation. So sometimes it's a lot of explanation that makes sense to go astray when they're explaining. So we need to share the tips of how we answer these questions. I'll not take a long time on this. I think we should start on our first question. Guess what? I have one first question here that we are going to begin with. Basically, it is a section A we are going to start with. And this goes for both paper one and paper two. Uh, I think I have to make a video about paper one and paper two, how these two are different. But maybe I can give a simple introduction and distinguishing point between paper one and paper two. Paper two is a practical paper and calls for analysis of theories and concepts, which is not the case for paper one. Paper one calls for facts in line to the logical setting. So this means that students should avoid being speculative in paper one. We need facts and they should be in line to the local setting. So speculation is not so much needed in in paper one. And local examples are relatively important, and illustrations for paper two, which may not be the case for paper one. So we usually need a lot of intelligence, like someone needs to be sober, the candidate needs to be so much aware with a lot of practical work they've done in terms of answering questions, different essays they have done. The students should not personalize their answers. This, I mean, things to do with, I think, yeah, the government should not do this. We have done this, like sometimes questions are there that may require opinions, but not so much subjective to someone is kind of personal identification, like I, we, no. So we don't need personalization, but this is not the case for section A. So I think that's will come in section B when you're sharing these tips for section B. Allow me to go to the tips for answering section A and how we present our answers. The sequence of answering section A should be in a language that is straightforward and very clear. The first impression is the last impression. I like using this word. Here, I always look for students who give them, like, who can really give the answers in the first piece of impression, in their first answer presentation. Be concise and precise. This means that you should try as much as you can to give your answers as your first impression. Don't write a lot of words, and then you put your answers in the last sentence. We commonly use the terminologies in section A, questions, which students should always be familiar with. Sometimes we say you should be precise and concise, means be clear and accurate. A concept or a word or a phrase, more accurately, should be given. For example, you can use few words which are very accurate and a little bit more clear. Concise means you give only information which is necessary and important in a few words. I'll give you examples when we come to the questions. So sometimes we have questions that have command words. A command word is a word that tells you what to do with a question or what to do with other words. Let's say define, give, mention, explain. Those are command words that are always used in section A. So sometimes we need to understand these command words. First of all, I'll give a sample of one or two command words. One is define. Define means to explain the meaning of a term or to mean the meaning of a term or a concept. Sometimes it can be a word or a phrase more accurately using fewer words. So if the question is define, be more precise and concise, meaning that explain what a term means or a concept accurately using few words. To mention means to write down the main points or facts about a term or a concept. Sometimes we are given the limit by number, mention 2, mention 3, mention 5, mention. Actually, they don't always go beyond 3. Mention 2, mention 1, example, mention 1 cause with an example, something like that. There are more and more command words. I think we shall have to make a video about the command words, and then we shall see what they really mean. Okay, I think I should share the first question. Guess what? Question. I think we've been so clear about this question. We've heard about this question before. But remember, we mentioned and we said it's about being precise and concise when answering section A questions. Look at this. Number 1, part A, define the term labor force. Labor force is in quotes. I know everyone can say to define. My dear students who are there watching, a parent who is there watching this video, you can also have this question when you see your daughter back, your son back in a holiday. Ask them, how do you define this? After watching this video, everyone is going to be a teacher. You're becoming a teacher for economics. This question basically looks for the terminology, the meaning of the term labor force. We have different ways how we can define this. I'll only give you one. Labor force refers to the total number of workers available for employment in a country. It comprises of the working age, both employed and employed. Now the question would be, How do students fail this question? What do they write? I tell you, some students know very well that labor force has something to do with workers. But some think they are those ones who are working. So someone says the total number of workers employed in a country. Half of the answer is correct. Actually, it is incomplete. There are those also who are not employed, but they are part of the labor force. That's why we say it comprises of the working age, both employed and unemployed. There are some students who are good at cramming. I always don't want to use this word, but they are so good at getting grasping the definitions faster. Now, if you're so good at this, it helps you on the definitions, terminologies, knowing what they mean. It can help you in section A. But remember, I should always adjust the question. It's not something I would recommend someone to do, but if you're in a situation where you're good at having the definitions, cram them in the best way, in a way that when it comes to writing the terminology. Define the term labor force, that's what we have first gone through. So I have also shown you how students sometimes answer these questions wrongly when they decide. Another question, define the term economic dependency. Economic dependency. I know my students have heard about this question. It is so interesting if you have heard about this question and you've not really tried to answer it. Some students would be like, Mr. Benedict, this question is a little bit ahead. We haven't reached there. I know you'll reach there. These tips help us to pass the final exam. The final exam may be the exam you're going to do in November. It can be your mock 2, mock 1, pre-mock, pre-Uneb questions. But remember, the earlier we get these tips, we practice them and we can actually share them with other students who may not have a chance to watch this video. So how do we define economic independency? There are students who define this question or this term in such a way. Some say economic dependency refers to a situation where one country depends on resources and economic decisions of other countries for its own development. I think I will underline the word where one country depends, the word depends. Now we are using a term or we are using a concept to define a term. Look at this. This is absolutely wrong because the student is using the same concept word, depends, in a definition to define the word economic dependency. This is very similar to the term that we want us to define. So what should we do? A student should know that the word depends in a definition can be replaced by the word reliance. Economic dependency can be defined as, or can be referred to as the reliance of an economy on the resources and economic decisions of other economies for its own development. Let's avoid using a term to define a term. What's economic growth? Distinguish between economic growth and economic development. Someone says economic growth is a situation where an economy grows faster because of, there's always different ways on how the questions are answered by students. So we should always avoid using terms to define terms. Economic dependency, and then someone says a situation where one country depends. That's one tip we should avoid. I think I'm so much into the definitions. We shall later go to others, like mention how do we are still on the command word define. How do we answer define, 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 define. Any question that we really need to answer here is so much appreciated. Put it in the comment section, like the page, share, subscribe, and then share with your friends. This is so much important for them to have. There's another approach of how we answer these questions. Sometimes students outline because the command word has been outlined. Look at this question. Outline any 4 features of the informal sector, of an informal sector in your country. This is a section A. It has been given a limit. Section A question, sorry, it has been given a limit of 4 features. But because of the word outline, some students find it so important to put bullets, dashes, arrows on their answers to show that they are outlining as the command word said. Actually, this is not the best way. The student may have stated the correct features of the informal sector, but instead they have mentioned them in a wrong way. So what we do here, if it's a section B, a paper 2 question, we need an introductory statement that will say any 4 features of the informal sector. For example, in Uganda, because that's the country, in your country, we need to be so specific. In your country, Uganda, this is a Ugandan exam. In Uganda, include the following. It is dominated by small-scale farms in the market. We shouldn't outline with marks for outlining. It produces mainly for domestic market or local consumption. It uses mainly simple production techniques, which are more labor intensive. It produces mainly consumer goods and simple producer goods. Mainly uses local inputs in the production process, characterized by limited formal bookkeeping and record maintenance. Now, the approach to such questions is to have an introductory statement that identifies the country, and then that shows that, the following are actually the features. Remember, we shouldn't put marks of outlining, we shouldn't put bullets, we shouldn't put numbers when we are answering or giving the features. Put a comment, put your observation, any suggestion in the comment section, and this is really so good. I'm making this video so short so that I can help and feature my fellow students, my fellow teachers, actually, my students, my teachers, and my parents who may not be able to watch this for a long time. Get a simple tip for a simple answer. We've learned how to outline section A. We've learned how to define. Thank you for watching this video. Find it important. Subscribe to the channel. Share, like. Someone else can benefit from this. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Remember, our mission is to pass with an A in economics. Benlook Educational Consultants, we offer tutoring sessions for economics and mathematics. I told you you can check on my channel. I have my WhatsApp contacts. And you can always contact me in case you have questions. You may want me to have one-on-one session with your student, with your kids. You may be a teacher. You may want me for internal kind of, seminars and the rest. I can always give you my contacts, and we can always talk about this in terms of your business. But remember, this is very important. We can share this information with our students if you're a teacher watching. Use your data very well to change your student's grade. If a student uses the data very well to change your grade, we are aiming for an A in economics. Economics is a subject we cannot forego in this world. A doctor, an architect, an engineer, anyone, they need and they use business ideas, economics concepts and ideas in their businesses. Excel in this will be so good. Next time we are sharing mathematics ideas, we shall be sharing economics alongside mathematics. Thank you for watching. I like you all. Stay blessed.